the debt ceiling. We've talked about this for the past 2 weeks, and a huge breakthrough happened last night where the Democrats and the Republicans agreed on a bill. In theory, it hasn't been passed yet in Congress.
Yeah.
But
all the headlines say bill in principle or deal in principle, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's going to be happening. So we're not going to default. We're going to be able to borrow more money to pay off our debts. That's all good. But of course, there are strings attached.
Yeah.
So to get into the specifics, first of all, as far as what this actually does to the debt ceiling, it's going to increase the debt limit for 2 years. So this conversation won't have to happen again until 2 years down the line, 2025. It's capping non-defense spending. So the deal is going to make it so that government spending stays flat in 2024, and it's limited to a 1% increase in the fiscal year 2025.
Yeah. Now, what's important, this is only the discretionary spending, right? So it's only like Department of Education, Department of Energy. It's not talking about Social Security. It's not talking about Medicare. It's only talking about the discretionary programs that aren't, as we'll get into, military and veterans benefits.
Yes.
Those are the two areas that are not capped. Military spending and veteran benefits will be increasing, but Department of Education, Department of Housing Authority, those places will be going down as adjusted to inflation.
Yes. They won't be able to increase.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Right.
So as you just said, defense spending is protected. Veterans medical care is protected. The other main thing that we're seeing here is that work requirements for government social programs like SNAP, food stamps, and TANF, which is assistance for needy families, has changed. So right now, childless, able-bodied adults from 18 to 49 are able to get food stamps for 3 months out of every 3 years unless they are employed at least 20 hours a week or meet other criteria. So basically, people need to be employed at least 20 hours a week to be on food stamps in this age range. One thing that this bill is going to do is going to change that 18 to 49 bracket to 18 to 54.
Yeah. Which, honestly, it's not the worst thing. There are many ways that food stamps could have been cut that are way worse than this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is not like detrimental to the program.
Yeah.
You know?
I think definitely something that would have raised that 20 hours a week number would have been much worse.
Yeah.
Than this.
Definitely. Because it would be much harder to ask somebody, you have to go from part-time to full-time to get food stamps.
Yes.
Right? That's a way harder cut. And I know some Republicans were even suggesting that.
Okay.
So the fact that that's not in there is pretty solid.
Yeah.
I think.
Especially with our current economy, which allows or even encourages so many companies to employ mostly part-time workers. Yeah. I wonder how many people is this even affecting?
Yeah. How much money is this actually saving? I don't even know if Republicans know how much it's going to save. I think the Congressional Budget Office will score it eventually, and then we'll get that answer. But
true, I
don't even think they know yet. Yeah. And look, work requirements are not really effective at getting people back to work. We kind of have seen that over the past couple years. Work requirements don't really incentivize, or they do probably incentivize, but they don't actually help people get back to work. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because fun fact, people want to work if they're unemployed most of the time.
Yeah.
They don't want to be unemployed. So they're not really effective at that. The only thing is it's just cutting the food benefit, really.
Yes.
So, yeah, but the fact that all non-defense spending is getting capped to only 1% increases, it's going to be kind of... Biden's making a bet because he's saying, he's like, all right, I did enough in my first 2 years. I had the American Rescue Plan. I had the Inflation Reduction Act. We passed the infrastructure bill. We've done enough now. Now, in 2 years, Democrats are going to win the House, and I'm going to be able to increase the spending as much as I want. So we just got to get through these next 2 years.
Yeah.
Strike a deal, play nice, and then 2 years, Democrats will win the House again, and we'll be back off to the running. That's what I think he's thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot of confidence in the political wins.
Well, yeah, Biden definitely is banking on a lot of political confidence for sure. Yeah, I don't know if I'm that confident, but I'm sure that's what he's banking on right now.
Okay. Interesting. we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I guess there are a few more things here that I feel like, full disclosure to the audience, this just happened last night.
Yeah.
So we are pretty new on this information.
Yeah, the bill hasn't even been written yet. This is just the preliminary understandings of what's going to be in the bill after it's written.
Yeah.
Which McCarthy has to get out tonight because I think he wants to vote on it by Tuesday. And I told you about that 72-hour rule on the last episode. Any bill that McCarthy wants to bring to the floor, he wants to give every legislator 72 hours to read. So he's got to get this thing going.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we'll see that happen. Other things in this article. Clawing back unspent COVID-19 relief funds. The deal would rescind unobligated funds from the COVID-19 relief packages that Congress passed to respond to the pandemic. Estimates on how much of this money will be clawed back varies.
Okay.
So I guess we can't really say anything about that if there's not actual numbers attached to it. Cutting IRS funding.
This is the one thing we didn't want to happen, but if my understanding is right, it's not that bad.
Okay, GOP. I'm not seeing much. All it says.
I've heard it's approximately $2 billion being cut.
I think I had seen that before as well.
And if it's only $2 billion being cut out of the $80 billion that was put towards the IRS,
that's fine.
That's fine.
This says the agreement would cancel the total FY23 staffing funding request that the House GOP says would go for new IRS agents.
Okay, that's not good.
No,
that sucks.
Yeah. So we're just gonna have to see how.
We just have to see how that plays out. We don't have enough information yet to say. Yeah, but that sucks. The whole because we want a strong IRS agency that's going to be able to take down those people who are avoiding taxes. Yeah, you know what I mean.
There's so much tax avoidance.
And it's terrible because our current tax system, you are more likely to be audited if you're poor and a person of color rather than being rich. And it's because when you're poor and you're a person of color, it's really easy to come after you.
Exactly.
Because you don't have the lawyers, you don't have the resources. It's easy to catch you in your mistakes.
Yeah. You don't have as complex cash flows with a bunch of different sources of income and places to put it.
Exactly. Yeah. So, you need more agents in order to capture the rightful tax revenue from the people who are most prepared and able to pay taxes. So the fact that we're losing the agents really stinks.
Yeah. It's such a
we should also say that has a negative effect on the deficit.
Exactly. It seems like such just a partisan win that doesn't there can't be any real rationale behind it besides the argument of government bureaucracy is ineffective, so this is going to waste money.
Yeah, that's all.
But there's not actual evidence supporting that.
Yeah.
Okay, last thing on here, restarts student loan payments. So this I did see a little bit out of. This says the deal would require borrowers to pay back their student loans again after they had been paused since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. But this does say, however, the agreement would maintain Biden's plan to provide up to $20,000 in debt relief for qualifying borrowers.
Yes.
That's huge.
This does not, McCarthy's deal does not say, he's saying, McCarthy was like, okay, you have to restart the payment, but I'm not going to block you legislatively from doing this student loan repayment thing. The courts might still block it. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Supreme Court is still going to kill the student loan forgiveness. Yeah. But McCarthy didn't stop it here.
Okay.
So it's still definitely possible. I think this bill is also going to give the presidency and the executive branch the authority to continue doing these moratorium on student loan payments in the future for other emergencies. And the executive branch will have the authority to say when that should be used, when that emergency is happening.
Okay.
So they don't have to get permission from Congress to put another pause on student loan debt. The executive branch can do it alone through an emergency if one happens.
Okay. Do you think the executive branch might have used that?
Abuse it? No, I don't. But I do definitely. I don't think Biden has the will to abuse it. Okay. I think a more progressive president would abuse it, quote unquote. I don't think Biden will abuse it.
Okay.
I don't think Biden will go through with it proclaiming a fake emergency to do it.
Yeah.
But I can definitely see in a Republican presidency in the future, there's a new emergency. They're not going to do this student loan payment pause ever again. Trump doing this student loan payment pause is a one-time act for the Republican Party. They're never going to do it again. But now this ensured that a Democratic president can do it again. Okay. You know what I mean? That's how I think about it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and maybe when a more progressive candidate gets in there, maybe he does abuse the emergency system and does pause it.
Yeah.
It's possible. I don't know.
Interesting. Okay. The one other thing I had seen with this is that part of the deal, and I'm not reading this, but part of the deal might double the amount of interest that people have to pay back on student loan debt payments. I don't know if you had seen that.
No.
That seems
insane.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that didn't pass since I'm not seeing it in the
I don't think that's in this, but I do know that there was a bill that passed a few days ago with some blue dog Democrat support. And it was to not just start the repayments of the student loans again, but also charge back all the interest that had accumulated since the pause happened.
Yeah.
Which would be crazy.
Yeah.
And that did pass the House. That's not going to pass in the Senate. It's not going to go anywhere, but that did pass in the House with some blue dog Democrat support.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, because listen, it's a culture war issue now. Now, if you go to college, you're not the working man, and there's a cultural narrative here that's not true. The working class of the younger generation is getting college educated.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's becoming more common to be college educated than not at the younger generations. And
sure.
There's a culture war now where Republican voters don't want to support that anymore. What do you see for Gen Z?
I'm curious about how much of Gen Z is college educated versus is not. It's interesting. I'm seeing a survey result saying as of January of last year, only 51% of Gen Z teens are interested in pursuing college degrees.
Well, that's a survey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I don't know if it actually plays out. I'm not sure where these...
Overall, the trend is obviously more college degrees are happening.
It is true that I feel like it's a misconception amongst people in our bubble, though, that college degrees are more common than not. I'm pretty sure, because they're not.
No, not in the country. They're definitely not.
Yeah.
No, not even close.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Okay.
Not even close.
Should we move on?
Yeah. So that's the debt ceiling.
Topic.
Oh, you know what? No. The last thing I want to say on the debt ceiling is the political implications for Kevin McCarthy. So I was browsing Twitter, as I do consistently all the time.
Yeah.
Without fail. And Republicans are pissed.
Like
the Republican base is pissed
at
McCarthy. The populists in the House are pissed. I don't know. I don't think McCarthy's going to be able to pass this with Republican votes. This isn't going to pass in the House with Republican support. It's going to pass in the House with Democrat and then moderate Republican support. The hard right of the Republican Party will not be supporting this because they didn't want a debt limit increase at all. So he just raised it for 2 years. This is not what the hard flank of the right wanted at all.
Yeah.
And they're pissed.
Do you think they're going to remove him as speaker?
I don't see how they wouldn't. I don't think that there would be another person who would line up and take his job.
Yeah.
Right? Because we've already seen how that played out this year. For anyone who doesn't know, it took the most amount of votes ever to get Speaker McCarthy his job since like 1870s or something like that.
Yeah.
So, I just don't think there's anyone to replace him. But I think there are going to be people who are going to try to take his job from him, or at least try.
Okay.
Because this is not what his base wanted from this.
Correct.
His base wanted a 22% cut to all federal departments except for military and veteran benefits. That's what they wanted.
Yeah.
22% cut. They got a 1% increase. You know what I mean? This is not what the Republicans wanted.
It's interesting. I saw certain progressives also arguing that Democrats shouldn't be budging at all on any of these concessions, because all Democrats have to do is get 5 Republican votes in the House to pass it from swing state candidates, swing district candidates whose districts would be massively affected by debt defaults.
Right.
So do you think there was an opportunity missed there?
I think, I don't know. I think McCarthy did a good job of holding the moderates in line by making this the deal and by kind of caving more to Biden, where I think the Democrat path of pulling off some moderate Republicans is lower. Because moderates are going to say to the Democrats, like, look, we got your debt ceiling increase for 2 years. We're just asking you to, freeze spending at the 2023 level up to 1%. Like, you can't play ball with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it made it harder for the Democrats to peel off.
Okay.
If McCarthy went in there and was like, no, you're cutting everything by 20%.
Yeah.
Then I think it could have happened.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think progressives need to fall in line on this one. I don't think progressives should play ball on this. I think this is good enough.
Okay. They can play ball verbally.
Yeah.
And
look,
say they're against it.
There's other ways that Democrats will be fighting back against some of the work requirements for the food stamps in the future. So another need to pass bill is the farm bill. And in this farm bill, the Democrats will have the opportunity to reinstate a lot of these welfare programs related to nutrition. And they're already lining up, and they're saying that we need a parallel track of getting these things back on the table throughout the next few years, and that through this way, we're going to be able to get our SNAP benefits back to where they should be from their point of view. Yeah.
Through the farm bill. Interesting.
Yeah.
I am going to be honest, I don't know anything about the farm bill.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I learned about it last night.
Cool.
So you're chilling.
Okay.
All right. So that's it. That's the debt ceiling talk. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
This might be the last update. Maybe we'll touch on it in the next episode.
We probably should once we get a little bit more confirmation on the numbers of the bill.
The vote might be a hectic rodeo. So we might want to talk about that.
Yeah.
I honestly, that vote, I'm probably going to watch live on CNN because that's going to be wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Okay.